Let's find out now what the Department of Basic Education's view is on this. And joining us on Newsnight is the Acting Chief Director of Teacher Development of the Department, Enoch Rabotapi. Good evening to you and welcome. I am assuming that you're horrified and that you're also concerned about this particular issue. My question to you is, how is this being investigated right now?
Well, the Department of Basic Education has measures in place to deal with issues of ill discipline that happens at school. Now, in order to ensure that these matters are dealt with speedily and more effectively, they are delegated to be dealt with at school level and at district level.
Who exactly is it conducting this investigation?
The first call is the principal. As soon as the matter is reported to the principal has the responsibility to make a preliminary investigation to verify the act, and based on the seriousness of the matter can make a precautionary suspension of the teacher whilst an investigation is being conducted.
Would it be your contention that the principal in this regard has failed, given that it took over a week to suspend the teacher in question?
If that is true, yes, because these matters are supposed to be dealt with speedily. There is provision that is in place in terms of legislation to ensure that they are immediately investigated and dealt with as speedily as possible.
And the principal's response to this issue would form part, I imagine, of your particular investigation.
Correctly, because if the principal is found not to have acted as expected, then he may be charged with dereliction of duty as well.
I'm assuming, Mr. Rabotapi, that when allegations like this are made, it would be ideal to suspend the teacher as soon as possible and not to wait for over a week.
No, that is correct. That's why I'm saying our legislation is very clear, and that's why these matters are delegated at school level, so that principals are able to deal with as speedily as possible.
All right.
It can be from the national department for these matters to be dealt.
Is there a need to change the way in which teachers themselves are employed? In other words, do you perhaps need to spend more time on vetting teachers, perhaps looking at the way in which they are hired to prevent this kind of thing from happening, or are those processes optimally in place?
Well, we believe that there are sufficient measures that are in place to ensure that people who are attracted into the teaching profession are people who have been called into this profession. But we can't, of course, rule out chances of some bad elements coming into the system. The key issue is, how do we deal with them as a system? And we need to emphasize that the majority of our teachers are actually committed and well-behaved.
What help?
These elements of negativity that keep on cropping up, and we need to deal decisively with them as and when they happen.
What help is now going to be given to the pupil concerned, perhaps the parents of that pupil, and perhaps the wider scholar population at Hyde Park High School?
Well, the department has a responsibility to ensure that learners who have been exposed to these kind of incidents are given the necessary counseling so that they can be able, this matter should not negatively interfere with their teaching and learning. So the matter will be dealt with together with the province to ensure that both the parents as well as the learner are given the necessary counseling.
And I'm assuming that the Department of Basic Education, this is a final question, given the nature of this particular complaint, is now insisting that this entire process be speedily resolved and the investigation itself accelerated.
Yes, that is true, as is all other cases. As I'm saying, the measures are very clear that these matters are very sensitive and very serious, and as and when they occur, they have to be dealt with speedily. So this is should not be an exception.
Thank you very much indeed. The views there of Enoch Rabotapi from the Department of Basic Education here on Newsnight.
News that moves. eNCA.com.